exercise God was doing. So what is going on with it? When we start worshiping without fear, we start tapping into His presence. When we start tapping into His presence, the gifts that God has put in us start being activated. And here's the thing that hinders us. Once we're into the spiritual realm and we feel this conviction inside of us because we're being called to minister and the gifts are activating, and all of a sudden you feel in your heart to pray for somebody, but then you feel that what if that somebody else to say something? And what you do is, God wants to minister to your life, showing you what He wants to do. Bless somebody else's life by you moving to the gift that He's given you so you can explore this life and move in faith to pray for somebody, to give a word to somebody, but fear holds you back for fear of what they're going to say. Why did they look at me now? What if they really are? Right? And then we started doing what? We leave that to the pastor. We leave that to the elders. And God is putting this in your heart. When you're in His presence, when you're lost in worship, to go and do something crazy. Have you ever felt like doing something out of the wacko? Like, for example, just to throw something out of the blue. You're worshiping God, and then all of a sudden, you feel this person. And, it's kind of hard sometimes, because sometimes when you feel like praying for somebody, is that somebody that you really have that hard time with? O better yet, all of a sudden, let's say, in el caso de Pedrito, and maybe some of you that God has given you since birth the gift of healing. What happens is when you tap into His presence, now look at me again. When you tap into His presence, and it's like a smell, it's like I don't know how to explain it. It's like a word that you know. It's the anointing that you know that you feel is for healing. And once you feel this anointing for healing, you feel it in your heart, and then you start feeling these tingling things and fire in your hands. You go pray for the sick, and all of a sudden you hold back and you're like, that's what the pastor says. ¿A usted le ha pasado? A mí me ha pasado. A mí me ha pasado. Should can I be honest with you guys? Can I be honest? There's been some times where I feel so strong to go minister to somebody that the fear is so much that I just rather to kneel down and keep praying and not even move. Don't even bother me, God. I'm here. Have you ever done that? Or better yet, when you start feeling that, you kind of like open your eyes and you want to get disconnected because you can't hold it anymore because it's like go. You feeling this, I gotta go to the bathroom. Right? See, I'm gonna be more practical with you now. This is the area that we are ministers. And our relationship with God grows stronger when we seek Him and when we act. When we seek Him and when we act. People that minister on the gift that God has given us, they are ministering and they are being ministered. They minister and they get ministered. So when you are trying to get close to God, it's an automatic reaction. It's impossible for you to tap into His dimension and not move what God has given you to move on. Because the two go together. God calls you to minister and to be ministered. You follow me? You follow me, right? So, for example, if you're in worship, I'm not taking too much time, right? Let me know cuando sea 8:20. 8:20. Diga. Dame 7 minutos. 7 minutos, because I wanna be practical. I'm gonna be real more honest. I'm gonna be straight honest, porque está moviéndome under the gift. Que Dios me está moviendo ahí, me está enseñando. There have been situations that have been created already. since we started the classes of the fearless, for you to move to break the fear of ministering somebody. Maybe some of you have been successful at it by doing so, and maybe some of you have, there has been an opportunity that has been opened for you to minister. Like in my case, I mean, it's different when you're talking to grown old men, and then especially people with different theological backgrounds, It's tough. But when you break the fear, we say, let's go and minister. That's what we're called to do. We're called to change wherever we go. We minister, and we are ministered. So, what I want you to keep in mind tonight is simply, there's no right, there's no wrong. It's simply doing it. Simply doing it. Like, if you want to practice, I don't know, maybe you go to this office. Maybe we'll probably get into people in after this. But listen, let's start off with this. If it happens that when you're in the middle of the worship, you feel that some gift in you is going to stir up, go for it. Go for it. Go and pray. Go and minister. Go and minister. You never know. What if it happens? Right? What if it happens? I've never been somebody that, he could do so, but maybe I'm still a little shaky in that area. What if that's not your name? But what if it is? You know where I'm coming from, right? So, here's the bottom line. Fear of moving of what God has called you to minister, to serve, and to worship. To serve, when you know there is a need that God has put in your heart to take care of that need, and then you say, well, they're going to think I'm tacky. So what? Maybe they just look at me the wrong way, and maybe just simply go out there and say, God bless you. Can I go a little bit deeper? Alright, 4 more minutes. I'm going to show you that we have a whole lot of fear. The Bible says in the book of Acts, talks about the primitive church. Primitive church is when the Holy Ghost came and the actual church started forming. And then the gifts started manifesting and all that good stuff happened. The book of Acts. Everybody has everything in common, the Bible says. Right? Here's the New Testament church. A couple of 20, 30 years later, and we fast forward in 2012, and here's the church today. If you want to walk into the church, you can actually see the group of people that hang around each other all day long. A group over here, a group over there, a group over here. Because they are so feared, they got so much fear to just break the boundaries where they out of comfort and actually be vulnerable to somebody. Fear of getting hurt. You'll be surprised how much you can learn from somebody else. We decide to stick to the same person all the time. We come to church, and we're sitting around, same people. We go to school, we hang around with the same people. It's what we call the comfort zone, right? Comfort zone. And this comfort zone is the same comfort zone that hinders us from moving forward. Because when we talk about breaking fear, we're talking about breaking the comfort zone. Breaking the comfort zone. The comfort zone of, God is just meditating over here. And then all of a sudden you feel that you don't need to pray for somebody, but you're in your comfort zone. Comfort zone. Nope. And then when you break out, you will pray for somebody, you're going to come back. And when that comes again, go ahead and do it again. And next time we will be like, yeah, see what it is. And next time you go, oh, I know God sent me. All right, where's the problem? Right here? And then you go, thank you, Jesus. That is the beauty of how God works. In your case, let's say, in your case, there's a situation where I see people that I know have to talk to them about Jesus, and I haven't. And then I got to go over there and deal with the condemnation. No, God, please, God. And then you let me understand, hey, listen, man, this is a training process. You got to adjust God. Just because you didn't talk to that person doesn't mean that he didn't have a chance. Otherwise, God would be unjust. God would always have a chance and give a chance to everybody before they deserve it. But he gives everybody a chance to us that are living here so we can try it again. And try it again. And again. How many of you have had the experience of somebody giving their life to Jesus, being you the vessel? You? How did that feel? Were you scared the first time? And what made you do it? Just came out of you. Do it? Anybody else? That somebody has given their life to Jesus, God using you. Oh. How? Dame una experiencia. Were you feared? Did you have fear at the